Hey everybody, it's Dave, and look, it's been about a week since we talked about communication. We talked about how important communication is for leaders. Now, how does communication tie into character? The bottom line is why are you communicating with people? Who's it about? What's your goal? If it's about me and the way I want to communicate, then I have a character issue that I'm dealing with here. But if I communicate and I want to have impact on people, then I need to adapt. I need to adapt to how I communicate. And that's why we talked about DISC. We talked about personality and how to communicate with different personalities. D-I-S-C, no matter who you are, you need to adapt to the people you're trying to communicate with in order to have the impact that you want to have. Now, we also talked about communication breakdowns, right? And remember, no team ever failed because of too much communication. It's almost always the opposite. So when in doubt, over-communicate. Think about it now. We talked about that communication is 7% the words that we use. It's 38% our tone of voice and 55% body language. Now, if we only send emails to people for communication purposes, we're missing 97% of what good communication is. I mean, that's a rough estimate, but that's why emails are always misinterpreted. Walk down the hallway, go talk to people, ask people to have meetings with you before you get into any sort of confrontation or conflict over email or even over the phone. So what we're talking about here is courageous communications, stepping forward and telling people the hard things. Remember, what we talked about was candor, saying what needs to be said, when it needs to be said, and to whom it needs to be said. That's courageous communication. That's what leaders of character do. We don't put off bad news. We confront those things and we get out in front of them. And you know what? People will see the character that we have by the way we approach them and the fact that we adapt to the way they need to hear things. So look, I'm looking forward to seeing you all in about a week. Talk about what things you have changed as far as the way you communicate as leaders. Maybe you confronted something, maybe you had a courageous communication, a courageous conversation with somebody on your team. I'm looking forward to hearing about that from each of you and look forward to seeing you next week.